All right, friends, this is how the market is looking. There is the pullback I've been waiting for. It's happening. And one of the reasons is de-risking before CPI, because CPI, the US CPI reading is coming. And this is legit the most important CPI reading that we have ever experienced. And I know I've been telling you this. Oh, I'm not saying I'm every CPI because sometimes it's nothing better, but today is specifically very, very important. And the reason is because this will define the trajectory for the Fed, for rate cuts this year, next year. This is why Jerome Powell, who's the Fed chair, is sweating in the background on the thumbnail. If that sounds good, guys, smash the like button. Let me know if you're here. We're going to look at questions. And as always, I'm going to run through some of the daily news that I always do. I'm going to cover the most important stuff from the past 24 hours for the next 24 hours, 7 days of the week, 24/7 crypto with Fefe. Let's go. So one of the most important things is that CPI is happening, okay? So CPI is happening today, and there are massive different opinions. So there is no coherent understanding and agreement on where the market is headed, and there is no agreement and understanding on what CPI readings is going to be. So the expectation, the median forecast is 2.8 on the year today. So you see it here actually. Let me bring this up. You see it's 2.8, and on the core CPI month to month is 0.3, but previous was 0.2. Now the question is, where are we heading? Multiple sources that obviously people rely on and look at are JP Morgan. JP Morgan says that there is, you see here the probability, so they're calling about 65% probability that the CPI will come in, the headline will come in between 25, no, it's not the headline, it's the core actually. Hold on a second. It got a bit of core. It comes in between 0.35 and 0.25. There is about a 65% probability for that. But they see 30% probability that it's coming in above 0.35, which would not be good. So the general, I would say the general sentiment among big players. Now, I don't know if this is because they just want to scare us, because market manipulation, because whatever. But as you see here, Morgan Stanley is expecting a hot CPI as well. JP Morgan is expecting a hot CPI as well. While Trueflation, which is, you know, I would say are for the people, right? So they measure inflation much more precisely. They say that CPI will come in at 2.8%. That's their expectation. Now it's interesting because I had an interview with Stefan, who is the founder of Trueflation, and he was saying in this interview we're discussing, and he was saying that there is not going to be a rate cut this year, but it was straight before there was the number revision. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a job numbers revision for 2 months, and they basically had to remove 280,000 jobs that they thought they added, and that just showed the leak in the system, and that just showed the leak in the bucket, how the job market, the job market growth is just down. Now the problem here, or the challenge here that I've been discussing, is that this is big, the JP is hanging on to two things. One, he's hanging on to the job numbers, and two, he's hanging on to tariffs. So I have a channel, it's called the 𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗏𝗏, and I'm dropping these major updates. And when this whole job number revision came up, I made this video, and I want you to watch it because this is super relevant for today as well. We're gonna put it up here later if you're rewatching, but we're also gonna put it up on the end screen. So it's also gonna be in the description. Go and check this because I explained it's a 12-minute explanation, 7 minutes explanation. I don't want to spend time on this now, but it's super important how these numbers shape the global economy and how they had to revise these numbers for 280,000, which is insane. But what matters on today's CPI is the following. If it comes in cool, meaning it comes in lower than 2.8%, right? So if you look here, lower than 2.8 on the headline and lower than 2.3 on core, we will most likely, let me just go back here. We will most likely see cuts and maybe even more than just one cut in September. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. If on expectations, meaning it comes in at 2.8 and 0.3, takes away the worries, I think it would be still bullish. I mean, the thing is, we're gonna look at it in a second, but there's already a cut being priced in. So if it comes in at or below, I think we're good. And then if hot though will attribute to one-time moves, I disagree because I think we can have a flush here. So here's what I thought, and this is what I tweeted. But you know this because you follow me on X and you turn the notifications on. What I tweeted, if CPI comes in cooler, sub or at 2.8%, a rate cut is confirmed for September and the final boss will be defeated. And the final boss is JP and the Federal Reserve. And I'm not saying they're defeated, but the final boss for crypto to rally, or the markets to rally even more, is that there needs to be, the global money supply is exploding, and we need to see rate cuts, and we need to see quantitative easing. If you look at this chart here, this chart does not tell me that the economy is booming, and this chart does tell me that the job market is dying, and they need to stimulate the economy. They need to start getting back at stimulating the economy, quantitative easing, and eventually printing money. There's an 85% probability for a rate cut, 25 basis point in September. So it's already, I would say it's already in the bank. It's 84% on FedWatch, and it's 73% on Polymarket. So this is actually not a bad bet that you could take on Polymarket. But there is going to be a cut, and the question is how big that cut is going to be. Now, that will be directly impacted by the CPI results, okay? Why is this interesting? It's interesting because CPI the inflation numbers will be, so Jerome Powell, who's the Fed chair, his whole argument is the job numbers, which we just said it's revised and it's gone. And the second is tariffs. So there is this new tariff drama that's going on. August 7th was the second liberation day for Trump, where he started talking about, the new tariffs came back, reciprocal tariffs went back to major countries. So that could spike a little bit of inflation. That's what they're thinking, or JP actually says it's going to be substantial. In July revenue from tariffs is 30 billion, and they ranked in over 150 billion tariff revenues this year. So the problem is, how does that relate? It relates because if there is tariffs on certain goods that they have to import, that means that those costs are usually put to the consumer, and that could increase prices drastically. But that's not what we've seen. That's not what happened. JP has been saying this for a long time, and even at the last meeting. But inflation is not ticking up from the tariff news. This is what he said last time.
Inflation expectations have moved up on balance, while increased tariffs are pushing up prices in some categories of goods. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up on balance over the course of this year on news about tariffs, as reflected in both market-based and survey-based measures.
So he's basically saying that some of the measures are ticking up, and we could see uptick in inflation. So I wanted to tell you, I do have my positions open here, you know this, and I want to manage these positions well. So we took profits when I thought it was local top. I do think I did an incredible job doing that. I started layering back in. I told you all about this, by the way, in a Telegram. I have a free Telegram link in the description. This is, I actually don't know, like sometimes I don't even mention this, but if you're not in this Telegram, I actually don't know what you're doing. I'm guiding you through everything that we do. I actually called yesterday in bed. I said this meme that Ren was talking about, and I said I'm buying back here at 2 million. It's up at 4 million, 100% since yesterday. So anyway, it's just worth joining in there. But I do have my positions, but I want to tell you what I'm actually doing. I dropped an update. I dropped these daily updates on the charts on $100 Club. You can subscribe there because you're going to watch the video. But I told you today morning that this level here is the 4-hour low, okay? So this level here is the 4-hour low. Why is this relevant? It's because this is just still a simple retrace. This is what I messed up when I said local top, but because we had a close above here, and I called it a local top without waiting for the confirmation. So until we hover over here, it's still nothing else but elevator up, stairs down, continuation expected, especially if a great CPI number comes in. Now, if great CPI numbers come in, I'm not gonna touch my positions. I still have about 4,000. What is this about? Yeah, 3, but I withdrew 2,000 from the account that I'm going to put back, so it's 5,000. So I have about 20% of the account still, which is just, in cash that I can deploy back as we drop. But I'm not going to touch it. So if CPI comes in hot, I'm just going to see what happens. I would not be surprised if at the CPI reading in about 30 minutes, we do have a wick down here and then a continuation to the upside. Unless we have a close below the 3.87 trillion, I'm not concerned about this. It's moon time, okay? But what happens if for any reason we get a hot reading, which would be above 2.8? If we get 2.9, that's hot for me, okay? Because that's 0.2% higher than previous. I would say they can argue on it. I think there will still be a rate cut, but the question is, are we gonna get, if it comes in like super low, if headline comes in like 2.5, bruh, that's like Valhalla shit. That's like we like that's 50 basis points in September. So for now, what I really want to see, where we're coming in. If it comes in higher, I am probably going to take profits. And the reason, not all, but I'm gonna close 20-30% of my positions, and the reason is because I just don't want uncertainty. Like, traders don't like uncertainty. If you are here with this heavy market and you have a reading, a CPI reading that is hot, and you know that it has to come back at least 5% anyway on the total, which is 8-10% on multiple tokens, and the market is already being beaten up, I just think it makes sense to take some profits. So that's what I'm going to do if CPI comes in hot. I'll update you in the Telegram on exactly what I'm doing when that happens. But if it comes in cooler, I'm just gonna wait and just see the continuation. And as we create a new leg, I'm probably going to start increasing my leverage and freeing up capital to turn it all back into the market. Let me see what else we have here. Net inflow, we're going to talk about that in a second. I just want to talk about it a little bit later. I wanted to check in here with everybody. What is happening? Wanted to know what's up. Guys, please smash the like button. I want people to know that we're here. We have 700 people watching and only 111 likes. Please smash and obliterate the like button. How about our long-term bags? I'm not touching them. I'm not touching them. Still have time. Do we touch spot if we go down? No. All the speculation. I would call it science, brother. Science. Do we sell some also or just ride it through? I mean, depends what you want, right? So this is the account that I'm running. I'm actively rotating into this account. Data will be good or Trump will fire them. They can't fire. Trump can't fire JP. He can't fire JP. Please don't stop with vlogs. Oh. Okay, we will consider. Because he's telling me we should stop because it's work for him. And I'm like, yeah, bro, like work. And he's like, no, I have to stop, bro. I can't work. I can't work 3 hours a day. Like, I can't. Best alpha, what about Grok has money? I don't know what that means. How should I plan my trade on Solana? I just explained. But also I gave you, like, I literally gave you all the in-depth explanation on 𝗪𝗔𝗧𝗘𝗦 Club. Like, if you go, you know this, but there's a link in the description. We're also going to put it up because it's also going to pin it in the comments. But here is this video. It's literally explained to you step by step on what I'm doing. I do this every single morning on the 𝗪𝗔𝗧𝗘𝗦 Club. I bring you these more in-depth news-based shows here. And I do all the market stuff and evergreen content here on the 𝗪𝗔𝗧𝗘𝗦 Club. So go and subscribe there as well. What's happening here? Fefe is the best. I love you, Jose Filippo. Great content. Many thanks. You're welcome. Grok was banned from X. Yes, but it's already back. That will be good for Trump. Okay, good. So let's go. I've got some major news that I want to share with you, and then I also have something else. But before I jump into the news, I wanted to tell you our partner today. They are incredible. So Bitpanda, you might have heard about it. I told you. So I think Bitpanda for me sounded like Bitpanda. Like, what is Bitpanda? But apparently they are one of the most serious exchanges in Europe. They're moving in, they're licensed, they have 16 different European licenses, 7 million users, 7.7 thousand reviews, which is already insane. But they also have MiCA compliance. Now, they launched a token called Vision. MiCA, if you're not familiar, I do have an interview, but MiCA screws everybody up in Europe. So you have to be compliant, the exchange use has to be compliant, and Bitpanda saw the what is it, how do you call that? So the, like the, you know, the thing, like the edge, you know, so the edge. Anyway, so they moved in and they did an incredible job with the exchange. But they also realized, like, if you want to do DeFi and you want to do regulated DeFi within Europe, you will need a place to do that. And they launched something called Vision, which is their token, which currently has a lot of benefits. If you trade on Bitpanda, you can get 20% back on your fees. You can get 10% APY if you stake their token. But what is more exciting for me is that their protocol, the whole thing that they're building here, is going to be a regulated DeFi interface, a regulated, MiCA regulated blockchain specifically designed for the regulation within the EU, which is an insanely big market. It's 380 million people. And I do see great, I wanted to say I do see great vision. But it's true. Like, I do see great vision in Vision. I have a bag. And they're also our partners. You can go and check them out in the description. Even though they are partners, I always say that I can say whatever I want. I can, you know, I told them I want to check out what they're doing. I loved what they are doing. And so this is why we bring them here. Go and check them out. There's a link in the description. And if you decide to get the token, you can stake it for 10% API and get 20% off of your fees if you decide to trade on Bitpanda. All the links in the description. But let's get going with another news. Guys, $1 billion was the inflow into the ETH ETF. Because let me say this again. $1 billion. Can you comprehend that? $1 billion. That's actually freaking insane. $1 billion inflows. And no wonder this is not what I wanted to bring here, but I'm going to bring this. I'm going to talk about this later. MicroStrategy 5 years ago executed their first ever buy at $11,500. This is insane, hey? 5 years ago, they bought their first thing. They hold 628,000 Bitcoin, $28 billion. $28 billion in unrealized profits. Absolutely insane. David Bailey says that he is going to market buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin tomorrow, which is today. Which is going to be bullish. We'll see. PumpFun, thank you so much for everybody who's been participating. The revenue is up 441% the last week. They're outperforming Bonk. Bonk's revenue was 50,000 the past 24 hours. So everybody was coming to me and they're like, "Dude, Pump is dead, bro. You know, didn't know?" No, Bonk is dead. Okay, so if something is dead, it's Bonk. Pump is back, baby. So back, baby. I'm long in that as well. So I'm almost at break even. So total net ETH issues. So here is the crazy part. Okay, so I brought you this here because this is truly insane. So there was $1 billion inflow into the Ethereum ETF yesterday. $1 billion. Now I want you to comprehend this because total net ETH issuance, meaning how much Ethereum hit the market through the proof of stake protocol, which is the merge was happening in 2022, which moved Ethereum from proof of work like Bitcoin to proof of stake, like a new way of validating transactions, was 450,000 ETH was issued in the past 3 years. And the net inflows into the ETH ETFs yesterday was 50% of that. So yesterday alone, 50% of the entire supply that they issued to the market the past 3 years has been scooped up. It's kind of crazy. A single day. So it is definitely doing something. Oh yeah, exactly. So it's competing with like proper Bitcoin inflows with a fraction of a market cap. Now ETH has about 1/5 of the market cap of Bitcoin. If you look here, this is Bitcoin 2.3. This is actually fucking good. $2.3 trillion, bro. That's like, I remember being here and Bitcoin was what? Nothing. Bitcoin was like nothing. Like a 40 billion. It's crazy. It's crazy. $2.3 trillion. That's actually mind freaking blowing. But anyway, even here on Ethereum, 516 billion, it's quite a substantial amount, but it's nothing compared to, and then of course it comes in. Now I can say one thing with this, and I just want to say it loud and clear so everybody in the back hears it. I think this is the same scenario with Pump and Bonk, okay? So yes, cool, Bonk is great. You can make money with it for a period of time. ETH, cool, is great. You will be able to make money with it for a period of time, but there is no fucking second best, okay? So there will be headlines that ETH ETFs is coming in, whatever, but don't abandon Bitcoin because now it's everything. You can allocate a little bit, you can take cut off a little bit, but ultimately there is no second best, even though if the headlines are going to show you that. It's a fact, like I don't want to argue that, it's a fact that a lot of companies are deploying. There is Bitmine, who is deployed 317,000, or bought 317,000 ETH, which is 1.32 billion. It's absolutely fucking insane. And ETH was dying 6 months ago. It was like the end for ETH. And another news, some random stuff that I wanted to bring here. President Trump officially extended the China tariff deadline by 90 days again after announcing that it was done again. So anyway, who knows what the hell is going to... Who knows what the hell they're doing? Quite frankly, great people. I mean, great people. We had a tremendous amount of talks. And I want everything to be best for America. God bless America. China is getting 90 days. We're gonna discuss. I told them not to do it, but they did it anyway. So it is happening. Then we have Elon Musk, XAI, which is basically Grok, is suing Apple because they make it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to reach the #1 in the App Store. So that's gonna be very interesting. These are some major guys like going fuckery at each other, which is gonna be cool. We see here, you see that it's you can't even find X, not XAI, but you can't find X in the App Store. So it's gonna be a big battle. Like Elon was like, he gave a right hook, a left jab to Trump, and now he's moving on to Tim Cook. Like he's like, you know, I'm ready. Jeff, get ready. I mean, he already offered Jeff Bezos from Amazon to take him on, but Jeff just, you know, bailed. Stripe is off, and this is the next meta, bro. Like this is the next thing. Everybody's launching a layer one. Like in the past 24 hours, Stripe announced they are launching a layer one. Circle literally just announced before the show that they are launching a layer one. Like everybody's launching their own layer one. So it's going to be treasury companies and layer ones. That's what we're gonna do. Yes, Bitcoin dominance is going to tank today. Let me look at Bitcoin dominance. BTC, USDT, no, BTC.D. That's what we do, huh? With the D, with the big green D that I told you to buy. What is happening here? BTC.D. DT. Yeah, so there was no retrace. I mean, this looks like free fall, hey? There was no 50% retrace, which is interesting. There's always a 50% retrace. This will be the big market crash. I don't know when it happens, but when it happens, this will be major. So, and it's also at a massive OB. So we'll see. I think altcoins can fly, but also Bitcoin can fly on the news of the rate cut. So we'll see. Bitmine Immersion Technologies files for common stocks offering of up to 20 billion. Anything about Pepe? Nothing. I closed the short, right? I told you here. I told you in the it's very important. I'm coming here and I can update you here. But if you're not in the Telegram, if you're not following me in X, like I can't help you. And these things are free. Like if you want to make money, you have to do this. This thesis is invalidated. Close my Pepe short with small loss. Like I'm being completely transparent with you here. The moment I saw that I messed up on this, I just closed the short. That's it. Nothing matters. And the token world, login, comp, CPI, comp, like all the tokens. Like I'm in, you know, I have these trades open here, so I do have. Was Bitcoin. I think Pangu is great, even though now it's bleeding down. So that's something I'm gonna add to. Pump, I do think Pump is incredible. Ton, great. ETH, Sol, Sui. I'm probably gonna look at opening an AVAX position. I'm gonna keep you updated on that. Tell about Doge. Nothing to tell about Doge. What about debt relief bought on base? BRB is the ticker connected with GrokX account. What is this guy talking about? FS Telegram the best. It's free, bro. It's like I share my thoughts that I gathered from the past 9 years. Smash those likes, some link, lol AVAX. Okay, guys, appreciate you all for being here. Truly. Please make sure to go down to the description and make sure to check out the Honors Club as well, where I drop my short form updates and everything. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel and come back every single day when I drop these alpha shows. And follow me on X. Join the Telegram. Check out this video, which is what I've talked about, the revision of the numbers. And enjoy your effing day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.